Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beetle Dustino, coming at you again today with yet another video. On Paul McCartney and kind of a what if on what happens if he were to bring back the colored vinyl reissue series that I think we all loved, and I'd love to see it return. I'd love to see the archive return too, but who knows? I suppose this one's older. The last version of this was older than the last version of the archive, but we can always hope and dream. MPL, please be listening. Please be listening. But before we get on to that, let's see the intro. So yeah, I've done a video on this already earlier on in my channel, and I made kind of a wish list on what I'd like to see. And it seems like there's some logic to this because the original colored vinyl reissues kind of followed a pattern. And that would be the archive collection. And then there was another release, and it kind of had a pattern with it too, and another release that kind of had a pattern too. Kind of trying to see their patterns and see what could happen. And this is kind of my predictions on this, if they did come back with another series on this. And, you know, I think it's smart. The first wave, which happened in 2017, featured 8 albums, all 8 of which had archive collections. And that's key on this. And I'm going to just show you quick on these. We had McCartney was the first one, and I think I've got this set up that I can just, so there it is on the red. Ram was the next one on that. And let's see, yeah, I can get it out there. And this was on this really kind of interesting neon yellow greenish color. And then we got Band on the Run in it. This one was on a white vinyl, very nice. And up next would be Venus and Mars, and I think this was the coolest one of it. And I gotta get this one just right so you can see it. It was a red and yellow split, which totally makes sense for Venus and Mars. And then we had Wings at the Speed of Sound, and that's on a kind of a transparent orange vinyl there. And the next one would be McCartney 2, which was on a clear vinyl, but kind of a milky clear. We're getting there for the first wave. And then we had Tug of War on this kind of transparent darker blue, very nice looking vinyl. And last one for the first wave from 2017, which would be Pipes of Peace. And this one was on a silver vinyl with a little bit of a marbling in there. So that was the first wave, 8 albums, all followed the archive collection. Totally 100% followed the archive collection. So in 2018, we got, and I'm kind of going in release order, and this kind of technically is part of the archive collection, but it would be Thrillington, and this one was on this really cool black and dark red marble vinyl. Looks really great. Not the greatest album, but that vinyl looks great. Now this one is kind of an oddball. This was not in the archive collection or anything, but any of the remixes on this, I believe, or remasters, I should say, are from the archive collection remaster, if that song had an archive release yet. Otherwise, I think it went back to the last remaster before that, which would be in kind of the 90s. But Wings Greatest came out on this blue vinyl. And it was nice with these because you did get the CD issue too. So you kind of had, keeping the CD in print, a newer issue on that. And these ones were cool. So in this series, it was more kind of a rarer vinyl, or harder to find, because they threw in a couple of newer albums, one of which was new. But anyways, the vinyl on these had been a little tricky to find, at least this one in particular. I don't know if new was really that hard to find, but this, of course, is Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, and this was on this gold vinyl, kind of with a little swirl marbling type thing in there. It wasn't another color, but we had, like I said, new. Now this one, I don't think the vinyl was too hard to find, but, you know, I think it was kind of cool they threw this in. I think it would have made more sense to put Memory Almost Full in there. But that'll get on to my predictions here. So this came on this really great pink translucent vinyl. I think it looks fantastic. Yeah, that would be the last one for the 2018 issues. And then in 2019, they did kind of a live album version of this. So all the albums in here were live albums. And again, they kind of went back to the archive, especially with this one. And I'm not gonna, I don't know if I can pull out too easily, but we had the green, or the red. I guess I'll keep it in the sleeve there. And then it would be green. It's not going to come out as vibrant. I'm not going to pull it. And then blue for the 3-disc in this one. See, and this one was kind of a weird one, but he did record this live in the studio, so that's why it was a live album, even though a lot of people call this a studio album, which would be the Russian album, Choba BCCP, on this really interesting yellow. Really great looking. And then we got Paul is Live in this. This would be on, I think it was like a baby blue they called this. They had a unique name for this one too, but I think it's like a cream or something, or peachy something. I see there's a big string of vinyl coming out there. All right, there we go. Pull that off. So of course, Chova BCCP, the Russian album, Paul is Live. That was just getting a new reissue of those out again. Wings Over America, kind of getting a colored vinyl version of the archive collection. This one was a whole new thing because this was a brand new album for this series, which is the only one in this series that has been that way. So this is Amoeba Gig, and it kind of is new, kind of is not, because it combined the Amoeba's Secret EP, which then eventually had the Live in Los Angeles promo disc that just came out in the newspapers in the UK and Ireland or something, and then it made it into its full album. So this is the full concert on this. Really great album. This is one of my favorite live albums, and it came on a clear vinyl for disc 1. And I think they call this amber, but it's kind of a transparent gold for disc 2. There we got that. I always count this one, even though it really isn't, but it really is, kind of as a bonus album in this, which is Linda's Wild Prairie, or Wide Prairie. I always say wild for some reason. On this milk blue, I think they call it. Milk/blue vinyl. Really interesting color, especially under the lights here. I don't think it ever comes out very great on the video. Even if I don't got my ring light on, it doesn't look that cool. When I got a good light on it, it looks cool. Yeah, that's what we've had so far. And like I said, it really kind of follows the archive. The Wide Prairie, kind of yes, kind of no. Because there's a couple of songs on there that were on some of the Wings albums already. But yeah, it follows the archive. And that's why I think they're set up perfectly to do a wave of 4, because that's what they like to do, either a wave of 8 with that first one, then after that it was a wave of 4 for the next 2. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I can't remember what I predicted or wished for, I'll say, on this what if aspect. The first time I did this, I think most of these were what I had in there, but the first wave, if they got this going again, would make perfect sense, because there's 4 archive collections that were not part of the colored vinyl reissues that should be, because all the other archive collections were. That would be Wildlife, Red Rose Speedway, Flowers in the Dirt, and Flaming Pie. So we got exactly 4 albums sitting there that haven't been in, that would exactly complete the archive collections that are there. They've already got the remaster for it, based off the archive one. Flaming Pie, I don't know how, because they made that into a double album. The original album was not a double album. I don't know if they'll, and it was a half-speed master too with the archive one. I don't think the rest of these were half-speed masters on the archive. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. That's the only one I ever bought a vinyl version of for the archive, was the Flaming Pie. So I'm not sure on the other ones. So let me know on that in the comments here. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. I didn't write down a color, but Wildlife, like a green would make sense. Red Rose Speedway, either a red or a blue. I think blue would really be cool, kind of different for it. Flowers in the Dirt, it would be cool if they did some sort of splatter with to make it look like the flowers on the cover, like a burgundy with kind of a yellowish in there, would look really cool. Flaming Pie, if they could figure out something like a orange, white, yellow splatter, make it look like a flame somehow, like maybe a pie on fire. I don't know. But anyways, that would be kind of the first one if they were to bring this back, which I really hope that they do. I'm really begging you to. If you're not going to give us an archive, at least get us some more of these out there. And I feel like you're so incomplete with where you're at right now, MPL, with not having those 4 out there where the rest of the archive has all got a colored vinyl reissue. The next one I think would be a really cool reissue too, because these are all albums I'd love to have on vinyl, and I don't, because I can't afford them. Even if I found them, which are really hard to find, I couldn't afford it if I found it. So we're going to call this wave the rare, newer reissues. So that would be Run Devil Run, would be the first one on there. Driving Rain, Memory Almost Full, and Kisses on the Bottom. And that brings you pretty much complete with the fact New and Chaos and Creation in the Backyard were in these last reissues, in the 2018 one. That would kind of round out that newer set from Flaming Pie on. You'd have every recent album reissued aside from Egypt Station and McCartney 3, which are still readily available and ready, easily find, you can easily find those yet. So I don't think those are quite worthy of this yet, but that would be a great issue as kind of the next one on that, because I know there's a lot of people like me that are trying to get McCartney's albums all on vinyl, and those are just impossible to find. Even if they don't make it exactly like the originals were. I think New was a little different because I think the original was a gatefold. That one isn't. Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, I think, was a gatefold originally too. This one isn't. So, you know, even if they just simplify it a little, that way you kind of know which one's the reissue and which one's not. Obviously, if you got a colored vinyl version, that would indicate it too. But yeah, those 4 albums would be great on this series as the next wave. And then I've got 2 more waves here. And the one isn't really complete, but if we're doing waves of 4. This next one, though, is, and I know this is something people keep asking about too, and again, it's just really difficult to find recent issues, fairly recent issues. And this would be an interesting wave, because it would be kind of the Fireman remixes, experimental type albums reissued. And there's a perfect set of 4 on these too. So we got Strawberries, Ocean Slips, Forest, the first Fireman album. We got Rushes, the next Fireman album. Twin Freaks, which was kind of a remix, whatever album. And Electric Arguments, the last Fireman album there. That would be an absolutely great wave there. I think people would really, Paul fans would really go nuts over that. And I think it would sell very well. I didn't say colors on these other ones, I'm sorry. Run Devil Run, like a yellow or a red, something like that. I know there's some yellow on the cover, or that orangish, wasn't it? The sign had that kind of orangish color. That would be cool. But I think red would make sense with the devil, you know. Driving Rain, maybe like a splatter, kind of silvery gray thing. White maybe in there, kind of like how the pixelated cover looks. If you could get, you know, kind of a splatter to kind of, it wouldn't look pixelated, but, you know, that would be kind of cool with that. Memory Almost Full, probably pink with that, maybe a solid pink, because the New was on that transparent pink. Kisses on the Bottom, either green or red. For some reason, those colors really stick out to me. I think the complete Kisses had the green. That's why I'm thinking that. Kisses on the Bottom, though, was basically red or white. But yeah, red would be cool on that one. Strawberries, Ocean, Ships, Forest, it would have to be green. I actually think, or red, I mean. I actually think it would be cool to do kind of in the center, green, and then on the outside a red. So it looks like you're looking down at a strawberry, you know, with the green leaves in the middle, and then the red coming out the center on the edges there. That would be really cool. Kind of do that strawberry thing with it. Rushes would probably be a darker red. Twin Freaks, like a greenish something. I know that is kind of green and brown seems to be. That would be just a weird one. Just put a weird splatter on that. Electric Arguments, probably blue or red, or a splatter would be great too on that. I don't know. White maybe in there somewhere. Yeah. But anyways, that would be that wave there. And I've got one more kind of written down. I suppose they could put out like a whole new album again, like they did with the Amoeba Gig, but a live album reissue or first issue, because several of these have never been issued on vinyl. But that would be back in the US or back in the world. I don't know how they would work that out. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to do both unless you did, you know, like the markets like they originally did with the equivalent albums. I think it would be smart just to kind of package it down into a single album and put like a bonus EP with the tracks from whichever way, you know, maybe do back in the world and do the exclusive tracks to Back in the US on an EP or something. That would be kind of cool. That one, I don't know, red, white, and blue type thing on that, because it, you know, that was kind of the color. Even the Back in the World was kind of that way. Good Evening New York City, never has got a vinyl issue. That would be really cool on that too. And then One Hand Clapping. I didn't think about that one at first until after. At first, I just had those two. And that would be cool. Maybe this could be a good vehicle to either get out Wings Over Europe, finally outside of the exclusive archive crazy, hardly anybody got, like 1,000 people got package. Everybody suspected they were going to do a wider release with that eventually. That would be a good vehicle for that to be in, something like that. Or I always keep thinking, a newer live album that I think would be great. It's videos available, but that where he played in the New York City there in the subway there at Grand Central Station. That would be a great one. I think that would be a really great live album. That one, there's some cool songs on there that he's never done on any other live albums that are out there, but it's out there for the video aspect of it, like 4 or 5 seconds specifically I'm thinking of. I know he's done that live a couple of times, but it's not on a live album yet, so that would be a cool place for that too. So maybe something like that. I don't know, as soon as the live one last time, they kind of made the Amoeba gig, so that's why I'm thinking Wings Over Europe would probably be the best one on that, so where it's kind of been out there but not really, you know, and make it more available to the public on that, where, you know, the Amoeba's Secret, but that was pretty a wide release, but I don't know if everybody really got it. And then Live in Los Angeles was obviously a promo, so that was kind of an oddball one. To make it into a true official album there was pretty cool. But anyways, that's kind of what I got on that. I think that would be a very logical next step for 3-4 more waves of the colored vinyl reissues from Paul McCartney. That live wave though would be a very expensive one, because One Hand Clapping's a double album. Back in the World, back in the US, that would end up almost being a triple album, I'm sure. And so probably would Good Evening New York City would probably be a triple album too. So that would be a pretty whopper of a release there, but pretty expensive on each of those. But I know myself, if that came out, I would happily collect that. I know that particular wave, I think people would really be gaga over too, because those 2 albums had never been released on vinyl. And same with Wings Over Europe. Again, the people that did get that exclusive package probably wouldn't be too upset at the fact that they could finally get a vinyl version of it. So I think Wings Over Europe does make sense on that. I forgot to write it down on that, but seeing that would be a perfect fourth for that. So we'll stick with that, Wings Over Europe on that. But anyways, I just wanted to go through that again. Maybe one of these days, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see it. I might do my predictions again, my what if, even though there is an old video on it, and I probably would not change this up one bit, on what if they continued the archive collection, what would be the next albums that would come in it. I got a good logic on it, good makes sense with a couple of the albums I don't think a lot of people think about, but they were skipped on the colored vinyl reissues also, and that's why I think they were planned for the archive collection, and so forth and so on. But yeah, just let me know what your thoughts, if you'd like to see me redo my archive collection one again too. I might, even if you don't say it in the comments, I might just do it, because it is a good video, and I'd like to get discussion of it out there. Let MPL, Universal Music, whoever know there is a want for these, even though they've been gone out of the market for so long. We want to see this kind of completed, and I'm kind of asking, can you do it? I guess doubt it'll happen. My little channel here, my crazy little channel and community I got going on YouTube here, I don't know how much influence I got, but we'll see what happens here. But I'd really like to see this. I'd really like to see these color vinyl reissues come out. I had so much fun collecting these, and I really think to kind of complete the Japanese SHM mini LP CDs that have been coming out recently, they need someone to feed that collection too, and that would be a good way to kind of continue those on too, if they made a mini replica of those LPs, especially on a couple of those that have never had an LP version. So, and they've got those archive ones sitting there ready to go that never made it into the colored vinyl reissue. To me, was the logical fourth wave initially. Even back then, that would have been about right. Flaming Pie had just came out though, so 2019 was the last colored vinyl reissue. Flaming Pie came out in 2020 on the archive, maybe even the 2021. Who cares? Okay, nobody got the vinyl, the colored vinyl version to begin with, but they probably would have bought it if it was available. So what? A year later, if you do an issue on it. So I know I would have bought it, even though I had just bought, the regular Half Speed Master archive version. I would have still bought a colored vinyl, even when the archive collection came out. However, I probably would have only got the colored vinyls. Maybe that's why on that, but who knows? All right. I'm getting the brain's going too much here. I filmed too many videos today. Holy cow. Hey, you've watched too many this week. Hopefully you're watching them all. But anyways, I'm going to get totally wrapping up before I get too crazy here. Before I do, I want to thank all my subscribers and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got new videos coming out. Also, please give the video a like. It really does help out the channel. And like I always say, if you've stuck around at this point, you must like it. So please give it a like and do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. Let me know your thoughts on this. Would you like MPL Universal Music to release these next ones? Hopefully continue the series. Or are you just done with the colored vinyl reissues and don't care anymore at this point? Or do you want to see the archive collection? Or do you want to see me make a video on the archive collection, what I would predict would be next, which would round out the archive collection? Let me know your thoughts on that and on any of those topics. Please respond in the comments and keep the video active in the algorithms there. So the algorithms. But anyways, I'm going to get fully signing out. I am Beetle Dustino, signing out.